My name is Amy Collins, and I'm here. It is August 31st, and we're having our next Free Advice Friday. We meet here every Friday where I get to answer your questions. So let's dig right in. Deborah wrote, she wanted to know if I had any suggestions on managing multiple genres. For over 20 years, she's written different sorts of stories for anthologies and the like, and she doesn't have an Amazon author page claiming those books, and should she? Because now she's writing a cozy mystery series. So I do have suggestions about this. Deborah, or anyone else who is writing under multiple genres, but you still have one author name. I'm not a big fan of writing under different author names. My belief is our name is our name. It's our brand. And with very few exceptions, you should just write under your name, even if you write multiple genres. And people like Joanna Penn and some other people have recently, even though they've written under different names, they've started combining and focusing on one brand name. And at the moment, that's my advice. But if you've written, such as Deborah, several types of books in several genres under your name, absolutely go to your Amazon Author Central page and claim all of those books. I do. If you look at my Author Central page, you will see my self-help books. You will see my books about writing. You will also see that any book that was published that I contributed to, there's a book, one book put out by Daniel Hall from Real Fast, an ebook, and I wrote a sample chapter on that. There's another book that I called Write and Grow Rich, and I'm a contributing author to that, although it's an anthology. It's 25 authors. We all pitched in and gave a chapter. I claim all of them, and you should too. They should all be linked. And none of them should be ignored. No books left behind. We want no orphan books. Claim them all. Put them on your web page. Mention them in your press releases. If you have a web page with a press, and you should all, if you're an author, you should all have a press and media page where people can download covers and download headshots of you and press releases. You should have those covers. If your book is in a Chicken Soup for the Soul or a Cup of Comfort book, you should have those covers on your webpage. You should claim that. Be proud of it. That is my advice to you, Deborah. If you're writing business books and you've been, writing inspiration up till now, that's fine. The only exception, for those of you who I said there is few exceptions, the one big exception is that if you have written a series of books for the Christian market and you are then branching into let's say a less appropriate market, and I mean really, I don't mean business books but I mean if you're suddenly going to start writing some sort of erotica or sex manuals or something, and you've been writing, for a very different market, you might want to consider using a nom de plume. But other than that, I can't think of one good reason not to claim every book. All right. Next question. Some of you, and we're going to talk about this, some of you have already received emails from CreateSpace, and you've been told in an email form that CreateSpace is merging with KDP, Kindle Direct Publishing. And Kindle Direct Publishing has, as I'm sure you know, developed a long-term plan. They've been in beta for well over a year, where they've been moving towards and practicing on paperback books. They've been around for a long time doing ebooks, but they have, for the last year or two, been slowly folding in services and learning how to work with print on demand and with paperback, because we all knew, a number of us out there all knew, that eventually CreateSpace was probably going to be folded in with Kindle Direct Publishing. One of the reasons, the most important, is that CreateSpace is off-brand. Amazon is very focused on branding, and they want everything published under Kindle. CreateSpace is an old brand. That does not mean that CreateSpace is completely going away. What it means is the offices at CreateSpace and the KDP offices have combined already. Some people have moved over to KDP. Those of you who were using their editorial and design functions. You are already aware of this, but most of the editorial, almost all of the editorial and design folks were not moved over to the KDP offices. They shut down that division. CreateSpace stopped offering design and editorial services for a fee quite a while ago, a few months ago, much to some people's deep consternation. But KDP has been slowly building up and adding a lot of templates on their site. And there have been a lot of questions this week about KDP and CreateSpace. So I have a number of questions that have come through because I have written articles about this. This last week I wrote an article at thebookdesigner.com. I'm teaching a webinar about this next Friday. Don't worry, not during Free Advice Friday, but I'm teaching a webinar about this through IBPA, the International Book Publishers Association, at 2 o'clock Eastern next Friday, September 7th. We're doing an entire session on this, and I just did a full-hour interview with Jay Boyer's author Apex. So I've been researching this. I've been talking to a lot of people. I feel like I'm somewhat up on this merger. And so if you have questions about the KDP and CreateSpace merger, I want you to go to the Q&A box right below, start typing in your questions. I have a lot here. We're going to focus on these questions for the next little bit, and if we get through them all, I will then go back to the general questions. But I promised you guys that I would answer all your questions about KDP and CreateSpace today, and that's what I'm here to do. So one of the people, Michael, has written me and asked about the ISBN that he got from CreateSpace. Will he be allowed to use it at KDP? And the answer is yes. If you took a CreateSpace ISBN and you put your book up through the CreateSpace system using their ISBN, they own the publishing and distribution rights to your book. I'm afraid. Yes, you have the copyright, but you pretty much gave away your distribution and distribution rights to CreateSpace. But don't worry, that ISBN is still valid. It will be rebranded KDP if you put your book up on Amazon and allowed CreateSpace to be called your publisher. If you said that you were published under CreateSpace, I'm not thrilled about that option because CreateSpace does allow you to call yourself an imprint under CreateSpace. You are allowed to assign a new name to an ISBN. You don't have to let everyone know that CreateSpace is officially your publisher with your distribution rights. You're allowed to give your imprint as a sub-imprint under CreateSpace with that ISBN, and at bare minimum, I would suggest you do that. But if you have not done that, and if you don't care that CreateSpace is listed as your publisher on Amazon, you will be moved over, when you're moved over to KDP, which will happen, and I'll tell you a little bit about that process in a minute, your book will eventually be rebranded as published by KDP, as Kindle Direct Publishing, eventually. There's millions of books that KDP and CreateSpace need to move over, so stuff's going to take a little bit of time. If you don't want CreateSpace or KDP to be listed as your publisher, now is a perfect time to go in and to create a new imprint and list, let's say you called it Treetop Press. Now would be a great time to go into both CreateSpace and to KDP and list your publisher as, list yourself as your publisher. Let's see, I'm getting more, people are texting me. That's hysterical. Yes, I know you got questions, but please ask the questions under the Q&A. That's adorable, but I'm afraid I can't look at the Q&A, my email, and my text. I'm limited. I'm a very limited woman. I have lots of things I can't do. If you are making the move from CreateSpace to KDP, now would be the perfect time to go buy your own ISBN. If you're listening from the United States, you get it from myidentifiers.com, owned by Bowker. If you're listening from Canada, the Canadian government assigns them. Now would be the perfect time to go get your own ISBN and put your paperback up through using KDP Print or KDP, Kindle Direct Publishing, as your distributor to Amazon. That's wonderful. But why would you give them your distribution rights by using their ISBN? They own the ISBN. They can choose where that book's allowed to go. Why would you limit yourself that way? All right, I'm going to look down here at the Q&A and see if there's any questions about KDP print. All right, everyone can hear me. That's great, but I don't see any. Oh, here we go. Terry, let's see. I'm going to minimize this. Terry says, let me use my glasses so I can read. When she published her first book, it must have been in the middle of the changes. She used her own ISBN for Amazon and CreateSpace, and when she placed the book on Amazon with her ISBN, they printed the book, and they used the Amazon ISBN assigned only in the print book. Can I pull back the ISBN online in CreateSpace? Terry, I'm going to read that one more time because I'm not exactly sure what the question is. You published your first book, and you used your own ISBN for Amazon and CreateSpace. Okay, Amazon and CreateSpace, because CreateSpace is Amazon's. So I'm assuming you put your book up under your own ISBN on CreateSpace. And when you place the book on Amazon with your ISBN, CreateSpace, and they printed the book, they used an Amazon ISBN. That tells me that perhaps you just maybe, I don't know, typed it in wrong or accidentally clicked. You have to click a button that says assign a CreateSpace ISBN, or you click another tab that says I'd like to use my own ISBN. So you may have put your own ISBN in the book and on the barcode, but is there a chance that when you uploaded the book at CreateSpace, you perhaps didn't hit the right button? Because they would have replaced your barcode with their own barcode if you did that. And yes, it's perfectly allowable to unpublish that book with that ISBN and try again with it with your ISBN. If it didn't go well the first time, if for some reason it didn't go smoothly and your ISBN was not the one listed on the book, unpublish. It's very easy to unpublish a book. You just go to your dashboard on CreateSpace, and if the book is not live, you can hit the trash. There's a little trash barrel right on your dashboard. You can delete the book, or you can go into sales channels and unpublish it. You can even go one step further and email CreateSpace and ask them to retire the book completely, that you want that book under that ISBN to be completely retired. So, Terry, if I did not get your situation correct, feel free to restate the question below. I'm sorry. Marjan is reissuing her book under her own name, previously under a pen name with small changes. Does this reissue allow her to break the contract with KDP, Amazon, CreateSpace, and reclaim her book with her own ISBN? Marjan, if you published your book, using their ISBN, and you are now coming out with a new edition of your book under a new name, of course, you don't have to break the contract with KDP, Amazon, CreateSpace. What you're going to do is, that's your first edition. You simply declare it out of print. You retire the book. I would suggest you put the new edition out and let them both be active for a couple weeks and make sure that everything is just the way you want it before you declare the first book out of print. But you declare a book out of print simply by telling CreateSpace that you'd like to retire the book. And again, you do that through customer service. Speaking of customer service, there are a number of people who are out there on the internet saying that, KDP customer service is awful and it's not helpful. Okay, guys, I get it. It's frustrating, but keep in mind, KDP customer service right now is being completely overwhelmed by thousands of emails every hour. I mean, thousands of emails are coming in. Tens of thousands are coming in every week, and they're doing their best, and I understand how frustrating it is, but and they are working very hard to do a better job at responding quickly. But if you want stuff done with CreateSpace, CreateSpace still has the option where you can make a phone call. KDP does not offer that option for customer service. So if Marjan is interested in retiring a book, and you need to get a hold of someone, or if Terry, who's got a question about why this ISBN was not listed properly, even though she had her own ISBN listed on the book, I would strongly recommend that you keep working with CreateSpace for the next week or two before, and do it fast, before the switchover happens or before you decide to switch over to KDP. Because once you've moved to KDP, you do not have the option to pick up the phone. Terry is saying she used 2 ISBNs, one for Amazon and one for CreateSpace. Terry, there's your mistake. You don't do that for a book. You don't use a different ISBN based on the venue of where it's going to be hosted. If your book is a 5x8 paperback, that 5x8 paperback has one ISBN. No matter who you're selling it to, no matter what you're using it for, if you want to have a second edition of your book that is not available to the trade, that you only are going to use for private sales, then don't put an ISBN on it. But creating a book with one trim size and one format, if it's a paperback and it's 5x8 and it's your book, you do not put 2 different ISBNs on it for any reason. There is no good reason. It is extremely confusing, and it's somewhat damaging to your sales tracking, and as you found out, things get very confused. If, for those of you who have an advanced reader copy or a version that you only want to sell in the back of the rooms for speaker purposes, then you can still upload it to CreateSpace and you know, the trade version. But go get your printed copies elsewhere. Don't use CreateSpace. Don't put an ISBN or a barcode on it. Keep that away. That's how that works. All right. Let's see. Yes, I know, Marjan, your book was first issued when CreateSpace was separate, not yet bought by Amazon. I bet you back when they were BookSurge. You know, that's terrific. But you don't have to worry about that. You can re-release your book, as I said, in a second edition. Rich is asking if you need to obtain your own barcode, and you do. You do need to obtain your own barcode if you care about getting your books into bookstores and libraries, and if you're going to upload that file to Ingram Spark. See, KDP is only appropriate, in my opinion. Yes, they have expanded distribution. Don't use it. There's no good reason to use it. KDP is only appropriate as a tool to get onto Amazon.com. If you want to get into bookstores and libraries or pet stores or gift stores or hospital gift shops, that's not what CreateSpace is for. That's not what KDP is for. Go to Ingram Spark. And once you put your book up on Ingram Spark, you are going to need your own barcode. It needs to be embedded with the price of your book. It needs to be created. But Ingram Spark offers you those barcodes for free. They will generate them for you. You simply, as you come up with your template for your cover, yes, I know you've got a designer who did your cover, but you still can create in Publisher Services under Cover Creator a barcode and send that barcode to your designer. It's totally free. Don't ever pay for a barcode. There's no need for it. You can go to Ingram Spark and get them for free. Even if you don't have an Ingram Spark account, you can still do it. If you're curious how to create this barcode, I actually offer a short, it's 2.5 minutes long, a short 2-minute video on how to create your own barcode, which I will put up on my Free Advice Friday page within an hour or two. Again, Free Advice Friday, I put up these videos, I put up transcripts, and I put up all of these little tips and tricks that I'm offering you. I write them down while I offer them, and I make sure that I get the barcode video up on the page. So Rich, you'll be able to watch that video. It's a 2-minute video. It shows you exactly how to do it. If you are only caring about CreateSpace, then just, you know, type the ISBN in and they will give you a barcode. It's fine. You don't need to worry about it. And the barcode will be attached to your ISBN, and the same is true for KDP. All right. Carolyn says she's got a KDP print issue. She keeps getting an error message when she goes to publish. Fix highlighted areas. The only thing highlighted is, I'm sorry, I'm having a request proof, which I've already received and approved. 6 emails back. Is it and forth with KDP and still no resolution? Has anyone else had this problem? All right, guys, I have not had that problem. When you go to publish and it says request proof and you've already, can't you, I'm just curious, Caroline, can't you request an online proof and just look at it? Yes, I know you already did it, that you've received it and approved it, but isn't it possible to, can you request the proof again? And don't ask for a printed proof, just, you know, go online and approve the electronic version and see if it'll let you proceed. If that's not going to help, I am putting it out to the rest of you, and Carolyn, I'm happy to throw it out on social media if anyone else has had this problem. I have moved over a couple of my books to KDP, and I've tried uploading a new book to KDP print, and I haven't had that problem. I have had a few others, which if we have time, I'd be happy to share with you guys. All right, let's see if there's other questions. Carolyn already did that. No luck. Oh, I'm sorry. Terry's saying it looks like you have to pay to put your book on Ingram Spark with your own ISBN. Well, there's a $49 upload fee. And how many places does Ingram Spark support sending your book to? It sends them to Ingram, which has customers all over the world. Ingram is the largest book wholesaler in the world now. It was Baker and Taylor. Ingram has kind of overtaken it. And yes, there is an upload fee, which actually you can have waived if you're a member of IBPA, and you can also Google sometimes. They've got lots of, Ingram often has free months where they'll offer a deal. Google it, see if they've got a free month going on. But at $49, that's not a lot to get international distribution to the book and library market. Ingram used to charge a $12 a title annual admin fee. They don't anymore. For those of you who are worried and thinking, or that you've heard that there was a $12 a year fee to administer each title, that they shut that off at the beginning of this year. That no longer is the case. And again, Ingram Spark makes your books available to Ingram Wholesaler, which means that all the libraries, all the bookstores in the UK, they've got distribution all over the world, and bookstores, gift stores, including Amazon, if you need it. All right. Carolyn is asking if I know why they require a printed proof. They don't, Carolyn. They really don't, and I can promise you this. I just did it this morning. I uploaded an ebook and I uploaded a print book this morning on KDP, specifically to walk through the process myself, and they did not require me to have a printed proof. I was able to eyeball it online and to approve the proof online. So if you've got an ebook and you're creating a print version using the KDP system, I have not had that experience. I would never try and create a print book from an ebook, especially if it was an ebook that was created from a Word document. I just think it probably would look pretty not good. Perhaps KDP requires a print version because, but I'm afraid I've never done that. I get my books laid out and designed either by a designer. I know some of my folks, people whom I've helped upload the book, they started out in a Word document and then they saved it as a PDF. They used Word templates. Joel Friedlander sells some terrific templates. There are templates that you can download from KDP directly and flow the text of your book in and make it look pretty and then save it. But because I haven't done that, I'm so sorry. I can tell you they did not require me to have a printed proof, and I'm sorry that that's outside my experience. Using Vellum. Again, Vellum is a very inexpensive and helpful tool, but it's not one that I recommend. I use designers who use InDesign. I'm sorry, Caroline. Way out. I will try and I will ask the rest of the crew if any of you have experience using Vellum and if you are required to have a printed copy. I would love to hear from you guys. All right. I've got in the chat box a couple of notes. Somebody is saying that the Canadian government does not charge Canadians for ISBNs. I know, and I'm so jealous. You Canadians can get all the ISBNs you want for free. I'm so jealous. Yes, and just to repeat, Ingram Spark does cost $49 to upload a book, but quite often there are codes that they put out. For the month of July, all uploads were free. They waived all uploads. You just had to type in a code. Google for that code. If you're a member of IBPA, all of your uploads are free. There's a code. It's a benefit of being a member. So if you have a lot of books that you want to upload, that $150 a year subscription to IBPA. Sounding pretty good. All right, let's go back to the questions that I've got about Create Space. Now, I do see some questions here, including from Patricia S. Hi, Patricia. I know you're listening. I will get to this question before the hour's up, I promise. And if you don't want to sit on the phone and listen about KDP and Create Space until then, I totally get it. I'll send you the transcript, I promise. But some of the questions that have come up about KDP and Create Space that I wanted to answer at the moment was ebook publishing up till now. Ebook publishing on KDP has allowed the option of KDP Select. You have an option with KDP in your ebook to offer a 90-day exclusive to Amazon. And someone's asking me if they're going to offer that option to print books and paperbacks. So here's my answer. I have heard back from KDP, and this is the way that works. No, not at the moment. They're going to go through the transition, and at the moment, there will be no requirements. If you have signed your ebook up for KDP Select, you are not required nor in any way expected to make your print book from Create Space also exclusive. That is not needed. No one's asking for that. There will also be, during this transition, so many changes and move-overs. There's no way, especially with expanded distribution, that KDP has any interest in tracking down or policing who's exclusive and who is not for paperback. It is way too hard for them to even fathom at this point. It is off the table, nothing you need to worry about. It was stated, though, in an email that I got from an employee that I do want to make you aware of. That does not mean that in the future, you may not have an opportunity to make your paperback exclusive on Amazon for 90 days through KDP Select. In the future, that may be offered. They're not saying it will, they're not saying it won't, but they're not ruling it out. When you put a new book up that has first edition, not a second, but a new book up that has never been offered before, and you want to consider KDP Select for print books, that may be available in the future. But right now it's way too confusing. Think about how many paperback editions are out there. And the hardcover, and then no, KDP's not getting into that. So I hope that answers that question. Little hint, we are going to be moving Free Advice Friday to a slightly more polished format in the future. I'm going to be offering them as a podcast and a vidcast in the future. I'll be wearing makeup more often, and I will not be sitting in the front seat of my car. I'm going to be recording these ahead of time in many cases. Yes, some of them will still be live, but not all of them, and so that's coming. I just want to give you guys a head up. Let's go back to an email that some of you may have gotten from Create Space, and the email said this: if your paperback through Create Space had chosen an option for Create Space Direct. Create Space Direct was a program that Create Space was working on, and they've since discontinued it. They're going to be moving it over to KDP, but it's been discontinued. But if you signed up for Create Space Direct as a program, as one of the many options under expanded distribution, that option will not be available at KDP Print. They are not offering Create Space Direct. Create Space Direct was a program before Aereo kicked in, but Create Space Direct was a program where Amazon allowed people to buy books directly from you and be shipped out directly to them. They discontinued that program almost a year ago. But if your book is still signed up for Create Space Direct, if you still have it ticked, they're sending an email out to people saying to them, you need to uncheck that option and remove that option from all your distribution, from all of your books. Otherwise, when your book transfers over to KDP, you will be pulled out of expanded distribution. Let me say this again. If you have a book available through expanded distribution on Create Space, and you have options, do you want bookstores and libraries? Do you want international? Do you want Create Space Direct? If you chose Create Space Direct and you never unchose it, even though the program is no longer being offered to people, it's still on your desktop, in many cases on your dashboard. I need you to go into your books and uncheck Create Space Direct. This is important because if you want to keep expanded distribution, even though I hate expanded distribution and I think none of you should use it. But if you want to keep expanded distribution, if all you care about is working with Amazon and bookstores don't matter to you at all, okay, there's valid reasons for that. You have to go in and uncheck Create Space Direct, because if you don't, when you get ported over to KDP has told me, I have it in writing from one of their employees, your book will not be signed up for expanded distribution, and it could take weeks or months with all of the transfers happening to get signed up again. If you don't want to lose expanded distribution, you need to uncheck Create Space Direct. I hope I've been clear on that. Sorry to hound that one. For those of you who are asking why expanded distribution is bad, it's not bad. Again, please ask the questions in Q&A. Expanded distribution is not bad. It's a waste. It's wasteful. And for this reason, I want you to have your own ISBNs. I want you to own, and yes, they're $125 if you're a U.S. citizen, or you can buy 10 for $250. So, and you're going to need 3 or 4 anyway. You need 1 for your ebook. In many cases, you need 2 for your ebook, because you need a Mobi and an EPUB. You have an audio book. You've got a hardcover. You've got a paperback. There's 5 ISBNs right there. You should own your own ISBN. I hate, and I have a blog about this, which I highly recommend you all go read at newshelves.com. I'm going to put my blog about why you need your own ISBN up at newshelves.com/FAF, Free Advice Friday. Newshelves.com/FAF. That's how to get all these resources I'm talking about. But I want you to own your own ISBN. I want you to own your own distribution rights. And I want you to put your book up on Amazon through KDP. I loved Create Space. I loved them when they were book search. I'm going to really love them as KDP. I have no problem. I love Amazon. I've got no problem with Amazon. All right, I have a few problems with Amazon, but we're not talking about that today. But why wouldn't you go get your own Ingram Spark account and put that book with your ISBN up under your own account? Why wouldn't you control your discount? Why wouldn't you control your returnability? If you check expanded distribution on Create Space, all you're doing is telling Create Space that they're allowed to put their book up on their Ingram Spark account. That's all they're doing. Expanded distribution is Create Space putting your book up on their Ingram Spark account. Don't give them the profits. Keep those profits for yourself. Keep the control. If you go through expanded distribution, the best you will get offered to bookstores is a 20 or 25% discount. It's not a bookstore in America that's going to take your book at a 25% discount. They need a 40% discount. Libraries are not going to be particularly interested in your book on expanded distribution in many cases because they're non-returnable. And you can make now again, most libraries don't return books, but why would you even put the smallest hurdle between you and your marketplace? So I would recommend that you create a business plan that includes you having total control and getting all the profits. Guys, I'm not going to answer questions from the chat box. I'm sorry, I can't. I've got phones going. I'm trying. Please put the questions in the Q&A and not in the chat box. It's right there. It says Q&A. Please cut and paste your questions in Q&A. I need to go back to the Q&A box. All right. Rich is asking if I recommend KDP Direct. It depends on oh, you mean KDP Select? No, I do not recommend KDP Select. I can't think of one good reason why you would want to be exclusive to Amazon. I mean, yes, they're half the marketplace, but they're only half the marketplace today. You have no idea what's going to happen in the future. Why would you thumb your nose at libraries and bookstores and pet shops and especially libraries? If you're on KDP Select, that means you can't put your ebook into overdrive. And you may say, well, bookstores and libraries are such a small percentage of the marketplace. Well, then are you marketing them properly to bookstores and libraries? Because they're not a small percentage of the marketplace. According to Amazon itself and from the Book Industry Study Group, Amazon sells 49% of the new books published last year. In 2017, Amazon.com was responsible for 49% of the new book sales. But that means that 51% of new book sales wasn't Amazon. So why would you shortchange and thumb your nose at half the industry? Please don't do it. There's nothing that they offer at this point. That may change, but there's nothing that they offer at this point that's worth it. Alan is saying, so uncheck CreateSpace Direct if you want to keep expanded distribution, but expanded distribution is bad. I've covered that, Alan. It's not bad. I'm sorry. I just think that expanded distribution is simply allowing CreateSpace to put your book up on Ingram Spark, and you can do that. And then you have total control. And since you need to put everything on Ingram, should you care about the direct thing? No, you shouldn't. So there you go. That's my advice. So Terry's asking, what about Kobo or Draft to Digital or Smashwords? Will we need a separate ISBN? No, Terry, no. One ISBN per venue, per format. If you have your book as a paperback, that paperback gets the same ISBN no matter where you distribute it through. If you have a Kindle book, that Kindle book gets the same ISBN no matter where you distribute it. If you offer the Kindle through Draft to Digital, and if you decide to do it through Draft to Digital instead of going through KDP, I don't know why you would. Why would you give Draft to Digital 10% when you can sign up for your own KDP account? But if you want to, same ISBN. Same with your EPUB. One ISBN for the EPUB, one for the hardcover, one for the audiobook. You can put that paperback up through KDP. You can put that paperback up through Ingram Spark. You can put that paper book. You can sell it directly. You can print 30 copies and sell them to Baker and Taylor. I don't care. It's the same ISBN. Please, please, please do not create a new ISBN. No matter what some uneducated, ignorant customer service person tells you at Ingram or CreateSpace or KDP, there's very little I know for sure. Most of the time I'll tell you I only know things halfway. I promise you, I swear on my mother's eyeballs, I am right about this. One ISBN per format, not per venue. You do not want to change per venue. All right, let's see if I've missed any questions here in the Q&A. I've answered most of the questions on the phone. All right, I am going to jump real quick, even though you naughty folks, which are still asking questions, I'm going to jump for a second. Okay, that's great. All right, it's totally, looks like we're good. You guys did move your questions over to the Q&A, and I'm very grateful to you. All right, so it looks like we've answered all the questions. It looks like we've answered all the questions that you guys may have about KDP and CreateSpace. If you have more, they'll go to the top of the list. Just type them in on the Q&A. Let me quickly check my email to see if any have come in for those of you who are on the phone and just listening. I don't see any questions about this. Let's see. Claire is saying, she doesn't know if I can help her with this, but KDP says they have their files and their technical team is working on it. She called CreateSpace and they say her files were deleted and never sent to KDP. Okay, so this woman, Claire, she had uploaded her book to KDP or moved over, but there were technical issues. And this has happened to several people. When she moved the files over to KDP, there was some sort of problem with the file. Either the metadata was wrong, or metadata meaning the data that the text that you put in about the book, the ISBN, the subtitle. Now in Claire's case, it sounds like there was an actual problem with the file itself. Perhaps something was corrupted. Maybe it wasn't. Maybe just the margins were, CreateSpace allowed for smaller margins than KDP does. And what's happening for a lot of people is the books that were perfectly valid for CreateSpace, there's a small issue on the inside for KDP that KDP won't allow. Either the gully in the middle, the section in the center of a book. This is a gully right here, this part here. That is too narrow, or the margins aren't quite right. So what happened was, to Claire, the book ported over to KDP. It was deleted from CreateSpace, but she's having technical issues and the book still isn't live on KDP. This is happening occasionally. It's very frustrating. I can understand it would drive me absolutely nuts, but the big frustration is that you can't get on the phone with someone with KDP, you have to go through their technical team and their customer service team via email. And as I said earlier, this team is overwhelmed. They seem a bit undertrained. I think in a few weeks or a few months, they'll be a lot more experienced. We're going to see a great many complaints online from authors who are having technical issues but can't get an answer in a timely manner. In this woman's case, it's been 5 days that she's been waiting. And so what she's asking, and what I'm going to recommend, is start fresh. If it's a new book, and this is a new book for her. She has a pub date actually coming out in a week. If it's a new book, slap another ISBN on it, start from scratch, find out what the technical issues are. You know, this moving over from CreateSpace to KDP for me went very smoothly, but that's not been the experience for everyone. So I would recommend that you start fresh. If it's an older book that has reviews, then that's not my advice. You don't want to lose those reviews. So I suggest you hang in there, you keep working with KDP customer service. Don't be afraid to call CreateSpace customer service and ask if they can step in. Don't be afraid to be a chatty Cathy. Get on the phone with Author Central, see if they can help. So those are that's my advice for that. All right. Now, Patricia had sent in a couple of questions, and now that we've gotten through what I believe is all the questions about KDP and Select, I am more than happy to answer. Let me make sure. Oh, Pamela's asking the name of my book and where you can buy it. Okay, here's the thing, Pamela. My book is called The Right Way, W-R-I-T-E, but I'm coming out with a second revised edition in November. So my book is available as an ebook for free on my website right now because it's a little out of date. It needs some refreshing. But 80% of the information is rock solid, and if you would like it for free, just go to newshelves.com/store. Scroll down, you will find that plus many other things for free, but you will find my book and you can download it for free. All right. Let's see. All right, we have questions coming in that are not about KDP and Select, and because I've answered them all, I am going to jump to those questions now. So let me start by answering Patricia's question because she was first in queue. There is a company out there called Publisher with a Z. That has reached out to her, and they're offering her 30% royalty on her book, and what they want to do is help her with crowdfunding. I can jump right to the and there's other questions as well. There's a number of companies out there now that are hybrid co-publishing companies. I have no problem with co-publishing. I have no problem with hybrid publishers. If you want to give someone $4,000 or $5,000 to edit, design, layout, and publish your book for you, that's between you and your God. I have zero problem with that. It's not the way I would go. I can hire an editor and a designer, and if, you know, with enough time and reading my book and other, you know, read some blogs, and you could do this yourself for a lot less and not give away the distribution and publishing rights to your book. Yes, I know you keep the copyright. I get that. So what? All authors keep the copyright. The copyright exists the minute you write the book. You don't even have to file for a copyright for your copyright to exist. That's how the law works. Trust me on this. I've spent hours with lawyers discussing this. But if you want a hybrid or a co-publisher, use one that is not listed on Editors and Predators. I will put that website down. Go to newshelves.com/FAF in a few hours, and I'm going to give some links. Also, Ally, A-L-L-I, the Association of some Independent Authors, I'll get you that link. They've got a wonderful list of co-publishers and hybrid publishers that are also predators. There's a number of them out there that should be avoided. There's also ones out there that I really like. I have zero problem with Lulu. I don't have any problem with Dog Ear. I like Outskirts, but they charge $10,000 sometimes for marketing programs that I don't think you need. They charge $5,000 to publish a book. I don't think you need that, but If you don't want to learn how to be your own publisher, if you're not interested in that, then these are great choices for you. If you would rather spend your time learning how to become a publisher, that's great. That's what I would suggest. But not everyone has that kind of time or interest. Use a hybrid publisher, but make sure you go to Editors and Predators. Make sure that you go to Writer's Digest. Look them up on ALLI. I will put these links on my Free Advice Friday page, newshelves.com/FAF. I will throw those up there. So Patricia, I don't know about Publisher with a Z, but there's several things that make me very nervous about it. They're helping you set up with crowdfunding. That's terrific, but they're taking a portion of your crowdfunding. Why wouldn't you just take a class on crowdfunding and learn how to do it and keep all your money? So there's a number of things that make me a little nervous about this company, and I would definitely Google them. Any company that comes after you guys, I've said this a million times, we're in a golden age. Go to Google, type in the name of the company, and type in complaints. Type in problems, type, the name of the company. Go type in New Shelves complaints, New Shelves problems. That's how you can practice. There's a few out there, I promise. Because I'm so professional and polished. So that, Patricia, my advice to you is, while I'm not familiar with that particular company, nothing that you've stated here seems up and up. It seems very suspicious to me. Check them out on Editors and Predators or on the Alliance of Independent Authors. That's the name of the company, Alliance of Independent Authors. All right. We've got some questions here. Joan is asking, what happens when someone has hijacked the name you have as a publisher of your book? I searched to see if someone had used part of my publishing name and found someone had used our name on her Bible study. Oh, there's my glasses on the top of my head. The book is called Jesus Abundant Hope Publishing. I found a place that used that name and redirected it to another company. Okay, so I'm assuming, Joan, that somebody bought the Jesus Abundant Hope Publishing URL. You're talking about the URL for your website. If that's true, can you go into the Q&A or the chat box and let me know if that's what you meant, that they grabbed your URL? That's not illegal. It's not cool, but there's at least three publishers out there called Chelsea Green Publishing. 3 different companies all came up with the name Chelsea Green, and there's 3 different companies called Chelsea Green Publishing. So, the first one that grabbed that URL won. That doesn't mean the other companies went out of business. They just had to find another URL. There's more than one company called Amazon, believe it or not. There was a bookstore around long before Amazon became an online bookstore called Amazon Books. You can't trademark the name of a book. You can trademark a brand. You can trademark a series. You can trademark a look. But you can't copyright the name of a book. You can, so if you haven't trademarked Jesus Abundant Hope Publishing, 5 or 10 companies can all call themselves Jesus Abundant Hope Publishing, I'm afraid. So it wasn't hijacked. It was probably duplicated, or somebody may have just grabbed the website and that was, so it's the name of your ministry and you use it on the book. And I get that, but anyone's allowed to, unless you've trademarked it, anyone's allowed to use the name. Do you have any idea how many books are called The Secret? Do you have any idea how many publishing companies are called Grand Central? There's a lot of them out there, guys. So I'm afraid that and Chelsea Green is a good example. There's more than one. I'm afraid there's very little you can do unless you had trademarked it. All right, Stephen is asking, let me get a little closer. What are the pages needed for a self-published author website? Oh, Stephen, that's a huge question. I'm afraid that's way beyond Free Advice Friday. I do, however, have a web page map that I am happy to offer you. It's a map that says, okay, here's what should be on the front page, and here's the 5 different sub pages and what should be under them. I will upload my suggested list of ideas of what should be on your web page as a map. I will upload that at newshelves.com/FAF, and you can take a look at that. I'm sorry, I wish I could answer it more in detail, but that's like an hour-long conversation. Rick Steinhoff is asking about a recommendation for a cover designer. I love Mila Mila at Mila Graphics, and I have given her name out before, but if you go to newshelves.com /FAF, I will throw Mila's contact information up there, Rich. I would love to. Sue is saying, how do you know if you have a problem with the book if you already use CreateSpace? Assume you don't, Sue. There won't be any problem. The problems that are coming up are so small. I mean, they're less than a percentage of a percentage point. It's a small group of problems. Most books, there's millions of books on CreateSpace. Very few of them will have a problem. If your book has a problem, as it's ported over, you will get an email. And I've said this before, and I'll say this to you guys again. Do your own transfer. Don't wait for KDP to do it for you. Just get in there. Be active. Do your own transfer. See how it goes. Get in there. Get muddy. Transfer the book over to KDP on your own. Don't wait for them. Stephen is asking if CreateSpace is converting to another Amazon company. No, CreateSpace is shutting down. They're calling it a merger. They're saying that CreateSpace and KDP is merging, but that's not really what's happening. CreateSpace is, their printing presses and their systems and everything, those that were helpful and that can be of use have been moved over to KDP, but CreateSpace is going away. They're calling it a merger. I'm saying they're being subsumed. They're being absorbed by KDP. All right. Sue is asking when my new book will be ready. November 1st. Thank you, sweetie. I appreciate that. November 1st, new edition coming out. Alan's saying, for those of you with only a few titles, what is my recommendation for the best plugin on the website for direct sales? I use Equid, ECWID. I love it. If you've got a WordPress site, I adore Equid. They've got a free version and the paid version. I use one of the lower cost paid versions. Costs me like $150 a year. I love Equid. But another thing you can do is Aereo, A-E-R-I-O, which is a company owned by Ingram Spark, where you don't even need to, they'll take care of it for you. They will do your printing and distribution for you. And so if you go to aereo.com, I will put that link at newshelves.com/FAO. But I will, they've got a great system where if you only have a few books, just put the cover of your book on your website, and what you do is Aereo will create a page for you and they'll give you a link. Just embed that link in the cover and tell people to click there, and they will handle your direct sales. Sue's asking how to trademark. Sue, it's a little like asking how to build a car. Go Google, I'm afraid, how to trademark. I'm not a lawyer. I do know that you need a lawyer in many cases, but I'm afraid I couldn't begin to answer that question. It's way outside of my knowledge. All right, it looks like I have answered all of your questions. I want to remind you guys that a replay of this, the video will be available on my YouTube channel. So just go to YouTube and look for New Shelves Books. It's going to be on my webpage within a few hours. And a transcript of this, for those of you who are sick to death of the sound of my voice, you can read the answers. You can read the answers in a few hours. It takes a few hours for the transcript software to kick in. And I know it's not perfect, but it's better than having to listen to me. And all of these resources that I wrote down, yes, my handwriting is horrible, but barcodes and why you need your own ISBN and Editors and Predators website and Aereo and Mila's email and all of that, that will all be up before I go home tonight. So I hope you have a wonderful long weekend. I will see you here next Friday. I'm looking forward very much. Gosh, there's a lot of you, more and more of you every week, and I'm thrilled. And I look forward to seeing you next week on Free Advice Friday. Have a wonderful holiday weekend for those of you in the States. And for those of you not in the States, oh, bless your hearts, I'm jealous. I'll talk to you guys later. Have a great time.